Hello everyone, welcome back to another Minecraft update video. Your eyes do not deceive you. This is 1.15 Snapshot 19w34a, and I can say that it is the bee's knees. Yay for terrible jokes. That's right, bees. We have bees in Minecraft. This is glorious. They look cute and adorable, and this snapshot comes with all of the things that you see down here in my hotbar. We are going to be going over this in detail. But first of all, I'd just like to say, I did not expect this. This came totally out of the blue. I was expecting Mojang to do like they did last year and announce the theme for this update at Minecon. They also talked about 3 biomes that were going to receive an update, and supposedly with this update we should see one of those biomes overhauled as well, yet bees were never part of those plans. So I think what they're doing is rolling out some of the features and then maybe announcing at Minecon the main theme for this update, and of course which biome they're going to be overhauling next. So let's get into it. You probably want to know where in the world you can find these Minecraft bees. Remember, if you're playing on a snapshot, to make a backup, and you'll probably have to go exploring and find new chunks, as these features don't tend to generate retroactively. But we are high up in the sky here just to have a look at how big this forested area is here, because there are quite a lot of bees in the area, and I've explored it and found about 4 or 5 different nests, and that should give us a good idea of how common they are. I don't think you're going to have any trouble at all finding these nests and then finding the bees. Now, they do spawn in forest biomes, it would seem. I've been to lots of different types, and I've always been able to find one of these nests in each of the different types of forest in the game. Most of the time they're hanging underneath the leaves directly, and sometimes, more rarer, you find them on the ground like this. And there's usually a couple of bees hanging around, and as you just saw, a bee actually went inside of the nest. So they can go in the nest and they can come out of them, and what they tend to do is interact with flowers like this one is doing right here. In fact, I think we're seeing it doing its work right now. Is it trying to get back into the nest? Maybe not. We'll go into more detail about these things that they do later on, of course. But if I summon in some more bees right here, you'll see they tend to go straight for the flowers and interact with them. And if you summon one on a flower itself, you'll notice it's moving very slow. It likes to move slow when it interacts with them. Now, you can breed these bees with any type of flower. So if I hold this one here, you'll also see that the bees are attracted to the flower when the player holds it in their hand. And then if I click on them, they will breed together, just like other mobs do. And then the baby bee can also have its growth spread up by clicking on it with the flower. And let's say you'd like to bring some bees back to your base. Well, you can actually leash these mobs. And I'm using the flower in the offhand to attract them. And look at this, we can drag them along with leads. Fantastic. So we're going to hop over to a test world to have a closer look at how these bees work. And I'm just going to quickly say, if you want to be informed on all of the 1.15 snapshots, then subscribe to the channel, as I do make these videos when the snapshots come out. So here in my testing world, we have a bee that has no AI. This allows us to just look at it a little closer and learn some things about it. We know it's got wings, we've seen those flapping, it's also got little antennas off the front and these cute little dangly legs down below. We can also have a closer look and see that its texture is 10 pixels deep and then 7 by 7 across the front. But here's something really interesting. If I show you its hitbox by pressing F3 and B, you can see the hitbox is actually bigger than the mob, although it lines up with the back of it, and it's got a little bit of a tail sticking out back there as well. So the hitbox size is rather peculiar for this mob, and if I interact with it, it will also start doing this little animation as well, and it also makes a sound. 8, 9, okay, so when I punch it the next time, it is going to die, because it only has 5 hearts of health or 10 hit points. Each punch is 1 hit point, and when I do punch it, it starts doing that animation. And now it stops. So we punch it one more time, and that shows us that it has 10 hit points of health. And it also only drops between 2 to 3 XP points, which is not a lot at all. Now let's look at what happens when we attack a bee. I'm going to summon one in, I'm going to punch it, and you're going to see that its eyes change immediately. But notice how this one over here has had its eyes changed as well. These mobs get aggressive like zombie pigmen do. And that one attacked me, and you might notice that its tail has gone missing. So once it's attacked you, it actually uses your tail and it becomes unable to attack you again. It also delivers 10 seconds worth of poison. Now let's get a few of these together in the area. When I attack one, all of them are going to come after me, and they're all going to hit me with the stingers. You'll also notice that they only attack you one time and then they'll fly away. Right, I've attacked one again, and now they're coming after me again, but now you'll see they're not actually able to sting me because their stinger has been used already. So as we know, poison alone won't kill you. I've got half a heart of health and it actually delivers half a heart of damage when it first attacks you. So, let's punch the bee, wander over to it, and we can see the death message. Asuma was stung to death. There is also a downside to the bees attacking you. After 60 seconds of losing its stinger, the bee will just simply die and it doesn't drop anything. What we're going to do now is use MBT data to learn even more things about the bee. So if I use this command, data get entity type bee, it's going to give me a load of jumbled information right here, but from this we can learn some more things. So we've seen these three tags in action. There is has stung for when it's used its stinger, hurt by to specify who attacked it, and hurt time for how long the bee has been injured. Now let's take a look at the bee's behavior. When you summon a bee into the world, it will find a nest or a hive nearby, and it tends to pick the nests more often, and it will call that its home. They will also seek out flowers as well, so if you spawn them next to flowers, they tend to pick one and then go for it and interact with it, and actually store the information of this flower inside of its memory, and they seem to like returning to the same flowers over and over again. This one now has nectar, and you can see that its texture changes. Its backside has some nectar on it, and then it will make its way to a hive or a nest. This one has picked the hive, and you heard that little sound. It popped inside, and now it's doing its business in here. So here are the tags for this stage of the bee's interactions. The hive position and the flower position are just the coordinates of those things. The has nectar tag is to change the skin of the bee and make it head towards the nest, and tick since pollination is how long it takes to interact with a flower to get nectared. That is 600 ticks. Now when a bee goes inside a hive or a nest, we can actually find some useful information about it. So if we use data get block, we can actually find out what's going on inside the nest. Now it actually stores the information of the bee inside it, and it can hold multiple bees as well. And there are two important tags. We have min occupation ticks, which is 2,400, which is 2 minutes. And then we have ticks in hive, and this simply counts upwards to 2,400. And when it reaches that number, the bee is going to pop out of the hive. I think it's time for us to head out of this testing environment now, but I wanted to show you that the bees actually like wither roses and can use them to breed. However, it's a different story when it comes to these flowers. They will try and pollinate with them, and they will obviously have a bad time. Another little bit of information about these bees: they like to share the flowers, the locations of them, with other bees, and I don't know how that's useful, but it's just something that they do. So now we're going to take a closer look at the hive and the nest. One of these can be found naturally, obviously the nest, and the hive can be crafted by the player. So let's jump in here and type hive. We can look at the recipe. It's 6 planks and 3 honeycomb. Now we'll come to how you make honeycomb later on, but you'll first get it from the nest, and then you can use it to craft a hive. I also want to comment quickly on how villagers don't interact with this stuff. You might think that they're workstation blocks because they're lumped in with the other ones down here, but they are not. The villagers don't seem to interact with bees at all. These blocks do interact with redstone, however, and in order for us to understand how they do, we need to look at the block state of this, which is on the right hand side of your screen. It has a honey level, and a moment ago I showed you how the bee goes inside the nest and it comes out 2 minutes later. When it comes out, the honey level is going to go up, so we're going to simulate that using the debug stick. You can see it's gone up by 1, 2, 3, 4, and then at the 5th level this happens. You can see the texture changes, and down below we'll start to get some particle effects. Maybe not straight away. The same thing goes on over here. We change the honey level up to 5, and then we start to get some particle effects and even sound effects as well. There's like a sticky noise going on. That's really cool. Now this stuff, like I said, interacts with redstone, but when you use the debug stick, you've got to provide it with an update. So now it's got a signal strength of 5, as with this one over here. So let's just set this one to 0 and give this an update. You can see that it's got no redstone, and then put this here and it gets a signal strength of 1. So this stuff can work with redstone contraptions too. Speaking of which, dispensers have been given some more functionality. Let's have a look at the 2 ways you can harvest these blocks. You can use a glass bottle and right click on it when it's level 5, and that'll reset it down to level 0, but you'll get yourself a honey bottle. And then if you were to right click on it with shears, you'll get yourself honeycomb. And it seems to be that you get between 2 and 5 pieces from these blocks each time you harvest it. Now obviously the dispensers are going to do this as well, right? So let's check it out. Over on this side we've got some shears, we press the button and look at that, it can automatically be sheared, which is very cool. And on the opposite side we have a bottle, so when we do this, the bottle actually goes inside of the dispenser. However, that time it actually got shot out, which I find very strange because I've not seen it do that before. So let's just do that one more time. Yeah, this time it went in there. I think I know what happened. I think it tried to use the honey bottle instead of the glass bottle. This new functionality extends to water as well, so if we just power this, you'll see that it will now be able to fill up bottles with water. And you know what that means? More automation to potion brewers. The next thing we're going to do is see what happens when we try some of these things in survival mode. So I'm going to pinch the honey, and despite what I've been reading, the bees didn't go aggressive. Okay, this time we're going to shear the nest, and did that make them angry? No, that didn't make them angry either. Now, if you break a bee's nest, the bees that have their data linked to that nest will come and attack you. And if there's one inside, it will appear to spawn next to it, and that will be an angry bee as well. So this bee's nest has some bees inside of it, and what I've read is that you can actually silk touch one of these. That made the bees angry. However, this nest should, in theory, still have the bees inside of it. So we'll go place it down and check that out. It has occurred to me the bee inside of here might be angry. No. Now let's use the command. And there you go. We silk touched it and it still has the bees inside of it. Fantastic. So we know if I break this and it has bees inside, they're going to go aggressive. But there's also a message on the post on the website that says, campfire smoke calms bees. Place one underneath the nest to keep them in chill mode. I don't think this is the same thing. No, yeah, look, they're aggressive. So I'm not exactly sure what that bit of text meant. So we know the honeycomb can be used to craft a hive. The other item we have is the honey bottle. And this can be crafted into sugar. You get free sugar for 1 bottle. You can also consume this as well. And as you can see, we've got a full hunger bar. So let's drink this. And you can't really see the effects, but it would change 3 haunches of hunger. And I've also heard that apparently it fills up your entire saturation bar, which would technically then make it the best food in the game, although golden carrots are stackable. Also, let's hear that gulping sound again. Yeah. That's the other one. Now here's something really, really cool. My friends Polyboy and Vilda found some hidden assets inside the game, and check them out, they're on my hotbar. So this one right here is called Wax Block, and we've simply applied it to a different block so we can see it in game, possibly something you craft using some of the new items. And this one here is Crystallized Honey, and it's just been retextured from a stick. Let's have a closer look at this Crystallized Honey in my hand here. Very cool. Maybe we'll see him in the next snapshot. It looks like Mojang have more planned for the bees, it seems. So a few more things to mention. The game will now require what's known as OpenGL 2.0. There is a new loot table function called copy state, and it copies state properties from drop blocks to block state tag in a dropped item. And if you've ever seen chunks in your world randomly swapping around, I've seen it on the Hermitcraft server and fixed it without the other hermits knowing. Supposedly these issues are fixed. They are really scary when you see them. Let's hope this one takes care of them. Obviously there were more bugs, but those were the key ones I wanted to bring your attention to, and this is the end of the video, so if you've enjoyed it then leave a like, and of course let me know your thoughts and opinions on the bees and 1.15 with a comment down below. That's it from me, thanks for watching, I'll see you soon, bye bye.